Yes, people, welcome back to the Gloves Are Offside. Today we're going to have ourselves another little debate. Now, this one is an age-old argument that football fans have all the time. It's club v country. What is more important? Now, I think it's important for every guest to introduce themselves, the club that they support, and where they land on which side of the argument without actually giving away any debating details yet. So, Kai, we'll start with you.
Yeah, my name's Kai, proud West Ham fan, and I
Boo!
believe that my opinion is I'm club over country.
I'm Chuck. Proud Man United fan. I'm not sure, but very big Man United fan. And I am definitely country over club.
Alex, I'm Chelsea, always will be, but in the purpose of this debate, country over club all day long.
And I'm Charlie. I'm an Arsenal fan, and you can say I'm sitting on the fence, got splinters on my ass, but honestly, I love them both equally, so I can't really choose. So it's gonna.
You're 51% Arsenal, 49 England, but that's just my guess.
Do you know? I'm gonna start it off just by saying my earliest football memories was like mid to late '90s, Euro '96, and then Arsenal winning the double. And the heartbreak of Euro '96. I remember I was only about 6 or 7 years old. And I was crying my eyes out when we lost. So my earliest footballing memories was having that English heartbreak, and it's followed me through my whole life. So I would love, love, love to see us win something. I have seen my club win big honours, but I
20
just
years ago.
the way I see it is, well, not the Champions League, but the Premier League. But the way I see
Sorry,
it is,
22 years ago. Sorry.
Here we go.
so if when Arsenal get knocked out of the Champions League or England get knocked out of a Euros or a World Cup, for me the feeling's the same, the heartbreak's the same. So that's why I can't really judge. But yeah, Kai, I'll give you the floor.
All right, so look, before I make my case, I just want to put a disclaimer out there. I don't hate my country. I don't, I'm not, anti-England. Look, I'm from London. I love, I love tournament football. But look, it creates interesting discourse. But for the purpose of this debate, so look, for me, am I right in assuming that all three of you, your first memories of tournament football was Euro '96? Would that be correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at that tournament alone, right, the tournaments prior to that were unsuccessful. We didn't qualify a couple of times before that, and that tournament has massive nostalgia with it. Gaza, the celebration, Shearer banging them in. Mine is a bit different. So my first tournament that I can proper remember, collecting the sticker albums, all of that, was World Cup 2006. And my first point I'm going to make with this is that the England team that I started seeing growing up was very cliquey. And ask any kind of member of that golden generation, they would tell you that there were kind of mini camps within the camp. All the Chelsea boys would be with each other, the Arsenal, Liverpool, blah, blah, blah. And we had a centre-back partnership that was meant to win everything in Rio Ferdinand and John Terry. And they would both tell you that they wouldn't really talk to each other. They wouldn't have the bounce because they didn't want to, give away too many secrets for the upcoming Premier League season. So my first point is, how can you take pride in playing for your country when people don't even get along? And they're back in their minds, they're prioritising, right, we need to win the league next season before tournaments even kicked off. So that would be my kind of first point.
I don't think that. I mean, it's now talked about like that was known then. It definitely wasn't. Like at the time, they were all talking like they were best friends. So it wasn't like now it's like, oh, they didn't get on, that's why they didn't win. Like that was like known, but that wasn't known at the time. And I guess maybe you've missed out on a few tournaments there because we kind of had '96 where we're kind of brought the country back together because we had been bad before. Then we had '98 where we really, again, probably could have won the World Cup. We were that good. And kind of got mugged over. And then 2000 still goes down probably as one of my favourite tournaments of all time. And then you got 2002 where we're all getting up, like watching the games at school. Like it's like you're watching. They're on super early. I remember going to friends' houses. I kind of like. It was just like football fans for me, like or club versus country for me is also that you've got like. You really disliked each other. You really like argued about football. Like, do you know what I mean? There was always like someone getting upset, and then like when it was England, you were all together. You were all in it together. Like you weren't mugging each other off. You weren't mugging each other's players off. It was like, no, we've got one goal. we're gonna win it together, and that was a kind of, it was like a uniting thing amongst football fans, and I still think it is like that. We're arguing about football pretty much non-stop,
Yeah.
and once it gets into a tournament, we're all united, we're all together, we're all like talking about the pain, we're
Yeah.
all like bigging up each other's players, and like it's like we're all together until we get knocked out and we start blaming each other. But it brings us together, so I think it just means more. And also, I think that there is a bit of thought regarding that, maybe because we haven't been successful. That if we were winning all the time, maybe then you kind of go back into your own little camps. But because we haven't won, it's like the need to win so much. Yeah, that's kind of where I
For
stand
me,
on
for
it.
me, let me just say this, and I guess my point of view is maybe a selfish one, because at the end of the day, I'm prioritizing my club, which means something to me, but means nothing to you guys. And yeah, look, I agree. When England play, all the boozers are filled up. You know, it's sun is shining. Everyone's kind of together. As you said, all of the arguments about club football kind of stop. But to go back to my childhood again, look, so my first one was '06, which obviously got knocked out by Portugal. 2008, we got knocked out by Croatia before, we didn't even qualify. So again, I didn't have that other tournament to kind of connect with England again.
What I would say though, Kai, is you
No, go
support
on.
West Ham, so you've had a lifetime of them letting you down
Yeah, no.
too.
So no, I was just going to say it's not even about England not winning. It's got nothing to do with that. It's just
No, of
more
course.
You didn't have that
again.
one spark of a tournament that was
Yeah,
like,
like so.
yeah.
So for me, this sounds stupid. That the first tournament that I properly had that love for England again was 2018, because again we come off of losing to Iceland in 2016, 2014. As I touched on in another video, we didn't even get out of the groups. Again, maybe because my bar was so low for England for that tournament, and then Southgate, brought it all back again. And I'll touch it. I'll let Alex have his say as well. But I think also for me, it's where I've seen England managers pick squads based on players for club that they play for rather than on merit, which really got to me as well. But go on, Alex, what's your view on things?
I think we've got to obviously think what the question is. What's more important, club or country, right? Country unites us, club divides us. And I think that's very important because, of course, supporting your club and your local team, the team you grew up with, whether it was your local or your team your dad supported, is important. And I think I'm guessing from your perspective, Kai, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so correct me if I'm wrong. You have more belief and faith and love towards West Ham than the England national team because you've invested more time, more money, more energy, go into the games every week. But like I would say, frequency doesn't equal importance. Christmas is once a year, but it still matters more than going to your local Tesco. So it's like, yeah, of course, going to the games every week or every other week is important, and your love for your club is there. Same as my love for Chelsea and whatever. But like, I just think like with England, we all get united. Look at when we all meet up to go to the pub and like we're rooting England. We all come together, all the clubs, we all unite because we all thinking the country is number one. This is where our values lie. This is where we've really got to get behind the team and support them. So it's just like, I think it's just like, of course, as Charlie's on the fence, both club and country are important, but I just think country is just a different level of pride. I think football now is more business, entertainment, corporations. But your country, yeah, there's sponsors for your country, yeah, there's it, but it's more pride behind it. I feel like it's a different type of emotion. I think it's just like it's England gives you hope at the end of the day, whereas I feel your club gives you pride, and they're different emotions. I don't know how you
I,
feel about
I
that.
think I think there's I don't think you can that the feeling that international tournament gives you. The sun's out, all your mates, you're all down the pub together.
Yeah,
You're all rooting for one cause. There's no real feeling like that elsewhere in football.
yeah,
Like I say, most of the times we're butting heads. Also, there's the things with the loyalty of players. So I've fallen in love with players who have played for Arsenal that have gone and then stabbed me in the back. Whereas your national team players, they're only ever going to play for you. They play for a different club, but when you're supporting them at international level, you're behind them. They're not going to go and sign for your rivals
yeah.
the next day.
No,
They're not going to
let me
play
say
for
this. Let me say
Scotland.
this. Look, I agree with everything that's been said. The social side of tournament football is amazing. We all meet up when that national anthem hits. You get hairs on the back of your neck, which is
Mm.
true. obviously, look, my club has a good history with producing players that have gone on to play for England. But in just talking about my lifetime, a lot of players have had to leave us to play for bigger clubs in order to play for England. It wasn't like how it is now, where you get kind of lower league, well, people in the Premier League, maybe in the bottom half that are playing for England. I'll give you an example. Scott Parker was 3-time Player of the Year in a row for West Ham. Massive player for us. He didn't particularly want to leave us. He went to Tottenham because at the time Fabio Capello didn't want a Championship player, because we got relegated at that time, playing for England, which I get. But if you look at all of the kind of academy players that we've produced, have gone on and left us and then played for England. So in my mind, it was always like, England have always been a priority for players. There's no loyalty and stuff. But look, it's an interesting one, and I get it. And maybe it's a selfish point of view from me, but you talk about, Charlie, the social side of it. I've had that with West Ham. I've been at away days where, I've been to Old Trafford, 3,000 West Ham fans out singing Old Trafford, or wherever it is. I'm using, because I've been to Old Trafford quite a few times. I've been in an away end where it's been absolute limbs seeing your club get a 90th minute winner. And if I could bottle that euphoria and that feeling up, I would pick it over watching England 100%. And look, mate, I'm probably the minority in that, but watching how, as we joked about how crap West Ham have been for me growing up, and then getting that euphoria of winning a European trophy, which I still haven't really kind of got to grips with, the fact that I've seen my club win a trophy, and I never ever thought it would happen. But again, as I say, look, I've been done away days when I've had to travel halfway across the country to see us score a goal. It's just absolutely amazing. And I get you can say that for England as well, but for me, as you said, I've invested the time, the money, the miles, and all of that. So for me, that's why it's so special.
I think a couple of things also. I don't think you are alone in it. Maybe in this conversation, but I think most people that I see online, they do say club over country. The other thing I'd say is, what was I going to say? I've lost my point.
Yeah, but let me just say one thing, Charlie, if you don't mind. So, like Kai, you mentioned like Scott Parker, yeah. For example, yeah, he loved his time at West Ham. If he could have it his way, he probably wouldn't want to have left and so forth. But he did it because of his loyalty to England and wanting to play for England. So, if you look at from his perspective, based on how you worded it, he's seeing country over club, even though club is important, but they're just steps. You can choose your club, but you can't choose your country.
So,
Yes, you can in certain situations, dual nationality, whatever, but like overall your country, chooses you, but you can choose your club. Sorry,
I
Charles.
remember the point I was going to make. Now that's it. So
Yeah.
you're saying obviously it's been a lifetime of watching West Ham, and then you finally get to that. You get that glory in the Conference League that you won. It's a bit like that with England. I've seen Arsenal win trophies. And I think that's why it is important the clubs that we support. The other three of us in the conversation have seen our team win the leagues. Those who have seen Champions Leagues, I haven't. But we've seen us win major trophies. Where for you, it's a lifetime of wanting it, and then it finally happened. It's like that with England with me. It's all the heartbreak over and over and over again. We've come so close. And to finally get our hands on a trophy, it would just, the place would go mental. And one thing's for sure, Kai, you're not invited to the party when it happens.
Well, as I said, look, like, look, we've all met up and watched England in major tournaments. Charlie, me and you watched us against Italy in 2021, and as I said, like that whole summer, mate, it hurt me because I felt like I had that love and that connection back with England. But it's just one of them. Look, football is so tribalistic. Fans, some unfortunately at club level, it does divide people, and I get the point that England unites people, but for me, I can't really explain it, which is always helpful when you're on a podcast. But I just feel like that feeling, like that unconditional love I have for my club. And so you said, Alex, you don't choose your country, but you can choose your club. For me, that's not the case. Like maybe the younger generation kind of follow players and follow the teams that win. Guess it's the same for all of us. My club chose me. My dad supported West Ham. His dad supported West Ham.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't just choose. Look, if I had a choice, I would not choose West Ham. Put it that way. But it's that for me, that's kind of where my loyalty is at.
Yeah, I think like what if England hypothetically played the same amount of games as West Ham per season, do you think your answer would shift? Like obviously we know that's not possible, but it's just like you don't have as much time and energy invested in following England, let's just say, because they play rarely. And obviously, I feel like your answer's based on the amount of time and energy you put into your club while you think your club supersedes your country. But like, how would you do you think it would change, or do you think you'd still be West Ham edging over England, even if it was the same amount of games and you went to both or whatever? I don't know.
It's a tough one because this whole conversation is hypothetical, isn't it?
Of course, yeah.
It's difficult to say because, as I said, like I've seen players that I love leave to as you said, prioritise England. And for me, it always felt a bit like, oh, we're not. Look, I'm sure it happens for a lot of clubs. Just we're not alone in that. But I always had that feeling of like, oh, people prioritising England over club level. And again, look, maybe obviously you can't help when you're born, but I was kind of following England at a bad period, and that look it's picked up massively in recent years. I don't. It's hard. I can't really answer that one, Alex. It's difficult to.
I think
to
the
say.
thing, another point is like, see, when you travel abroad or you meet foreign people and you
I
talk
was
to
gonna say,
them about football, and they just mug you off because you've never won anything. You speak to a Frenchman or a Spanish, you just get mugged off. England, never did it, never did. We beat you. The Germans all the time, we beat you. And it's like, it's my country, man. That's where I'm from. That's my identity. Like, I love this place, and just to get the one, man. I just know the feeling. You say you could have bottled it when you won, when you win away or whatever.
how good was it in Germany?
Yeah,
When we
so
went to
we
Frankfurt,
watched England in the
group
tournament.
game, England, Denmark,
Game was
bro,
crap, but
with
just the
all the
whole day
England
being
fans.
there, taking over the town with other England fans, Three Lions blaring, and all these different songs. Everyone's flags up and everyone's singing. It's just
Different
brings the whole
feeling.
place together.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, I
amazing.
mean, people obviously I've lived abroad. I lived in Berlin, but like people mug you off because of England, and they know our clubs are the best, and they always they always say kind of caveat with it like,
Yeah.
oh, I watched the Premier League and
Premier
your
League,
clubs are
yeah.
good, and but you've got too much money or whatever. They always caveat it, but
Yeah.
they always mug us off. They're like, oh, when was the last time you won a tournament? And you just there's nothing you can say back. It's just like
Yeah.
it's like you've been stabbed in the side, and you're just
Yeah.
bleeding out slowly, like.
It's
And we just
painful, isn't it?
the
Supporting
thing
England.
is that even like I was in I went to Amsterdam to watch the Holland game with my mate when we won in the semi-final. Even Holland are mugging us off, and they haven't won a tournament since like 1986. Like my mate was like just born. So it's
Yeah.
but they know our history. We're one of the best leagues in the world. We have some of the best players in the world playing in our league.
We invented the game.
Yeah,
invented the
and
game.
and they say there's a certain arrogance about us, and yeah, we just haven't won anything. So we need to get the monkey off our back. I don't think it'll ever change for me. I think that England will always be slightly
Don't think
more
we're going to do it
important.
this time round? This World Cup? You
What?
don't think we got it?
Let me ask you a
No
question.
chance.
Let me ask you a
No
question.
chance,
Would it?
unfortunately.
I mean, I know the answer for me, but would it mean
Right.
as much if we won it under a German?
It would mean
I don't-
more. Be even better.
No,
Like,
for me, it wouldn't make a difference. I'm just
I don't
England have won
care.
it. I'm celebrating
No, Char, I think you
I'll
have
celebrate
more,
like I scored the winning goal myself. But
I think it bothers you more than most, Char. Like the fact that it's Tommy is the manager. Like I don't care. Look, if we won it under Sven Goran Eriksson, we wouldn't really be saying, "Oh, we
no.
won it."
I don't care if we win it under him. My thing is, I just think it looks bad on us that we're such a major nation and we can't produce a coach of our own. That's all I've.
agree with that.
It doesn't change
Yeah.
the how I'm celebrating and how much I want us to win it. That doesn't change at all. But I just think it looks a bit bad on us that we can't get one of our own. It should be the best
I
of us.
agree.
Best of
I
them,
agree with
believe,
that.
but-
True. Yeah.
But
But how many
also-
English managers are in the Premier League now? It's becoming less and less every year, no?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well, I was just
Eddie
going to
Howe's
say,
probably
an
our
English
best one.
manager's never won the Premier League either,
Crazy.
which is also,
Mm.
since '92, obviously. But this was the point I was going to touch on earlier, right? So we're talking about Tuchel. I think look, this is my opinion. Historically, watching England for me growing up, a lot of it was, especially under Hodgson, a bit of Fabio Capello as well. Players were being picked a lot of the time, in my opinion, based on the club that they played for rather than on merit. I understand. Look, there has to be an eliteness to represent England. You can't just let anyone who's got a little bit of form. And I get that. It's hard to
Exactly.
kind of judge where the line is. But
Yeah.
for me, I've seen a lot of players miss out or not get as many caps as they should
He just wanted Mark Noble to
just
get a cap. That's I know.
yeah.
I know.
Well,
what he's
I was going to touch on it. Yeah.
saying.
So
Mark
look,
Noble.
Mark
I
Noble
was gonna
did not
touch on
deserve
it.
to get an
he
England
did,
cap.
he did, he did, and
No, he
let me tell you
didn't.
why. Let me tell you why. Because
Go on.
it's easy
Oh
for
my God.
clubs. Look, it's easy for fans of Big Six clubs and people that probably didn't watch him. So I'm talking about the season where Leicester won the league. So 2015,
I knew this
16.
is what he was getting at.
And it's like
Go
Mark
on, go
Noble
on, say it.
probably had the best season of his career, if not one of the best of his career, right?
Yeah.
I'm in no way saying he should have started. He would never have started, but at least get a couple of friendlies from February, March time leading up, just to say that because he genuinely did deserve it based on the numbers that he was producing in that season, right?
So just
Didn't
cap
get
him.
did,
You're saying just
did,
throw him some caps.
no. I'm not saying throwing some caps. I'm saying that play him in some friendlies leading up to the tournament to see how he fits in. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But
So
then
you're
you've got
saying that, like, not with a long-term plan, just he earned some caps, is what you're saying.
well, no, he was 28 at the time, so if he was good enough, he still had a couple more years to
You're
represent
saying
himself.
she got picked
You're,
from
you're
playing
acting
in
like
friendlies.
you're acting like he was 34, 35. He wasn't. He was at the peak of his career. And my point is then you had Roy Hodgson picking a
Who
Jack
was he picking?
Wilshere. He picked Jack Wilshere, who played 80 minutes of Premier League football that season. Which look, there is no comparison in ability
Because
to
there's levels.
to what Jack Wilshere and Mark Noble. Obviously, Jack Wilshere is miles the better player, but if we're talking on merit and who deserves to represent their country. It's again about the club that you play for. Which again, I look at my club and I think, well, to use Mark
Yeah.
Noble as an example, he should have got an England cap and he's been snubbed. So again, it was just a bit like I didn't have that. I was a bit like, oh, okay, like it's the eliteness. And I think we're going back to that with Tuchel. I think we've given him a 2-year contract. Is he going to care about players coming through or
Yeah, but
the plan in the next couple of years?
He's playing Anderson every game. He doesn't play for one of the big boys. He's
It's different now. It's different. As I said, it's different now than it was 10 years ago. But I'm saying in terms of what's the 4 to 6 year plan with Tuchel?
Well, I think he had a bit of a change, because when he came in, he was definitely talking about only in this job for 18 months. The plan is only the World Cup. He's obviously really enjoying it because he said during the last internationals that he'd like to stay on. And you saw from the last squad that it looked like there was a bit more future planning. He was capping the younger players. So I think he wants to stay, and it seems like he's trying to integrate a few younger players rather than, if you looked at his first couple of squads, it looked like he was like, the tournament's in, like, I'm just going to play senior players. So I do understand that, but to kind of argue against your first point, I used to think when I was quite a bit younger, why are like the players who are not scoring goals, why are they not always getting it in the England squad? Why are they not playing? Like the two that from my head that there's kind of discussion from fans who kind of throw this back at the England manager are Mark Noble and Liam Osborne, but I just don't think that they were good enough to play for England. Like I don't think that their level was elite enough to play for England at that particular time. I think that Noble, towards the end of his career, you could have given him a few caps. But at that point, Southgate was like, I'm just going to play younger players with the thought to kind of them growing into kind of being better. And from 2016, that was kind of what Southgate was thinking. And I just don't think when was Osman or Mark Noble like so good that it was like unavoidable that they had to get a cap. And I really don't think that there was a time when I was like, yeah, they definitely, like, I think that they could lead us to glory, that they could be a difference maker. I just don't think that there really was a point for both of those players, who I think are genuinely great Premiership players.
I agree. I think that there are worse players who have played for England than Mark Noble. So he could have been capped had it opened up for him for injuries, whatever. He may have got a couple of caps, but he was never. I don't think ever good enough to especially with the players that were in his generation, to really hold down a place in the England squad. It didn't happen for him. That's a shame. There are a few players that it hasn't happened for that may have got a few caps.
Kai's saying he should have been given a go though, innit? At least for like friendlies and
Well,
stuff, right? Is
look,
that
the
more
thing
your
is,
point?
my point was this, and I could be wrong, but I remember, if I remember correctly at the time, there were, Jack Wilshere was injured. There was quite a few injuries in that time. So I was thinking, look, there's no harm in giving him a try. And again, I said it earlier. There's a fine line between, you can't just give anyone, oh, here's a little cap for you, mate. Here you go. I get it. There has to be an eliteness to it, and I get that. But in that season, he was performing as good as the players that were injured, that were playing regularly for England at that time. And I'm not just saying, oh yeah, give him a few caps to say, oh, look at you, look, you've played for England and all of that. He was genuinely, like, that was probably the best season of his career. And he was 28. I think people forget. I think they think of Mike Noble, he was like 35, 36. He was 28. But look, it didn't happen, whatever. I just, for me, if you're giving Tuchel a 2-year contract, you're basically saying, right, go and win us the World Cup.
Yeah,
That's fine. It's a roll of the dice. But then if we don't win it, what's the plan? Are we going to go and get someone else?
I'm glad you've come back to that point, because I wanted to raise a point on that. We've made 2 finals, a semi-final in the last 4 tournaments. We've come so close. We have to go and win it now. So I think that's right. Go and get us someone who's going to deliver the tournament, and then we can think about building.
Yeah.
Yeah, but only in his most recent squad, Char.
Yeah, recently,
yeah.
when he first came in, he definitely wasn't doing that. But my point is this, and maybe
Well, he wants a job now.
Yeah.
Well, look, and I hope so. And maybe it's me being pessimistic, but you can't operate a national team by saying, okay, let's roll the dice. If it doesn't work, we'll see what happens. No, you have to have someone in. You either say to him, look, we won't announce it, but if we get to the final or whatever, we'll give you another 4 years or whatever. You can't operate, okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you can't just, okay, here's another 2 years, here's another year. You have to have something in place.
There's got to be more succession planning, I think. I think that Tuchel, you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to win the World Cup. You have to be, there's players coming through. You have to look at them. You have to see if they're the standard. We have to always be, and Alex asked the question, I don't think we've got a chance in the World Cup. Obviously, I'll be getting dragged in. I'll be.
Why? Why do you think that though?
So, I think it's weather. I think it's the weather, and I think that the league is too intense, and like at the moment, it's looking like it's going to be a title race, and I think that it's too intense, and it's more games. I think that we're going to have a better chance, especially if Tuchel does stay, to win the Euros. So I would like him to stay, because it kind of also, like, you've got all of this experience. You work out the players that you can trust. You go into a tournament, you see a tournament, and then you start again. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I would like to see him do a World Cup, providing we get to like the quarterfinals, and then like do the Euros, and then you judge him. I think it's kind of unfair to judge someone on one tournament when
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
You've kind of like, you've just learned to be an international manager, you've gone through the ups and downs, you've seen what a tournament's like, and then you're like, let's start with someone who's never done it again.
Yeah.
Imagine Charlie, Kai, Alex, what do you think about us winning the tournament?
I think we're within the favourites. I think we have
the squad to do it. Let's look at it that way. I think we do. No? Do we have the squad to win this tournament? I think we do. Don't you think?
But we always have the squad to win the tournament.
I know what you mean.
I think there are question marks in defence. I think the attacking players, 100% we've got enough talent.
We haven't got a striker. If something's wrong with Kane, we haven't. So we've got midfield. We've got attacking midfielders. And we're kind of growing into having almost maybe midfielders right the way across.
Yeah.
Defence is fullbacks. I'm pretty happy with. It's defence. Centre backs, you're a bit like And even though he's great for England, Pickford always worries me when he's playing for Everton. He's always good for England, and I don't want him not playing for England. But when I'm watching him week to week, I'm like, oh no.
I think he's been England #1 for so long now, and he's been to so many tournaments, and not once has that man let us down.
Never let us down.
What he's saying. He makes mistakes for everyone, but he's always one of our best players when it comes to tournaments. I think he's possibly one of the best England goalie of my lifetime. David Seaman was incredible as well, but but
at some point that's going to catch up with you. You can't keep being. You can't, like, do you know what I mean? It hits you like. We could go back to Conor Benn, like the Conor Benn fight. Age comes out of nowhere, catches up with you out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think defensively there are some question marks, especially if there's injuries. But I think we're win the favourites. It's just about having that
Yeah,
mentality to see us through those games because we beat the teams we should beat, and then we come up against someone who's elite or as good as us, and
that's the
we
thing.
never get battered. It's maybe Spain played us off the park a bit in that final, but it was still only 2-1.
Yeah,
We never get wiped off the park really. They're always
yeah,
tight
true.
games, and it's just key little moments that go wrong and we lose. So I think it's a mentality thing.
It is a mentality thing, and I think
Hopefully,
we focus too much on the past and like the hurt that we've experienced, and
yeah.
then the media and it. And I think like we just have to focus,
And
try and focus on the future. Do
I
you know
think
what I
if
mean?
you look at Spain, for example, they didn't win a trophy for so long, and they
Yeah,
kept having great teams getting knocked out, and they were a bit similar to us like that. And then
good
they got
example.
they
Yeah,
got over the line once, and they haven't stopped winning since.
true.
I just think it's just by hook, and I can go back to the club and say this about Arsenal as well. We're coming so close.
Mm.
We just need to get over the line as a team together, and then the floodgates may open, and we start winning more and more trophies.
No, I don't think that'll happen for us.
No, you know what, Charlie, you
No
actually took
floodgates, Charlie.
you actually took the words out of my mouth. I was just going
I'm
to make the
joking.
comparison because I've been talking to you about Arsenal a lot. What you were saying to me,
Yeah,
your team's been through the heartbreak. They've come so close, and I think it's similar with England as well. Over the last couple of years, look, if you look back when we played France, it was look, Harry Kane blazed over a penalty 99 times out of 100, he puts that away. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So for me, yeah, at the back, it's question marks if everyone's fit, and there's a few question marks there, but we're amongst the favourites, and I think, as Charlie said,
yeah.
we've never been battered if we come up against a really good team.
Who's
Um,
favourites with us? Who's up there? Would you
Hey, in
say
No,
Argentina.
Argentina, Spain?
it's
Spain,
Argentina,
Argentina.
Yeah,
Spain, France, and us. We're all the top four seeds, and
yeah.
they've changed the rules, which I'm not sure I'm particularly happy about. But basically, if we all top our groups, we wouldn't be able to meet until the semi-finals.
Okay, I think that's good though. We'd want a big game like that, don't you think? Or you'd want to
Yeah,
knock
but
out
like
earlier,
it's kind of it's
more
not even that it's
strategic.
earlier. I just like it's just a bit pre-planned. It's kind of
Yeah.
I'm not like super mad with it. Like it's not, but like.
Love England Argentina final just for the history behind it. That would be a
But
sick
I don't like
moment.
the thing is that I mean we all watched the last World Cup. I think we were like better than we just. It's just the teams that we ended up playing. I reckon we
Yeah,
would have beat Argentina. I don't think that
yeah,
Argentina team was
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Like I don't like. I think that France should have won that game. Like France were for me the best team in
yeah.
the tournament.
They were,
Like
yeah, definitely.
Argentina got like they won it. Obviously, you can't take it away from them. But the best team in the tournament for me were France.
Yeah, because I mean, look at Argentina. They were fragile. Even Saudi beat them. What was it, 2-0 or something like
They
early on?
weren't
Like,
like they grew into the tournament. You
yeah,
know.
they did. They very much did. Can you see Charlie? Charlie, you're right.
I don't know what's going on with my. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I just can't see you. Can
Boys,
you
anyway,
voice?
let's end this because I
Yeah.
think we've gone off piste a bit anyway. We're supposed to be club against country, and we've gone into are we going to win the World Cup?